Jallen Carter bent down to tie his shoelace. Seconds later, a white cop screamed, "Hands where I can see them!" Before Jallen could speak, a bullet tore through his chest. He collapsed, gasping, not even understanding why. He was unarmed, 17, carrying groceries for his grandma. No warning, no questions, just one assumption: black, hoodie, guilty. The officers stood over him, radioing for backup like it was routine. But what he didn't know? Jallen's father was Colonel Andre Carter, Special Ops, and he had just received a silent alert from a GPS chip hidden in his son's shoe. 2 minutes later, the sky began to roar. The sidewalk was quiet. A light breeze tugged at the trees, liming Brook Haven's main road, and the sun hadn't even climbed fully over the rooftops yet. Jallen Carter was just walking home, hoodie up, backpack slung over one shoulder, a grocery bag in the other. He stopped briefly near a stop sign to tie his sneaker, crouching low, unaware that his next breath might be his last. Screech. A patrol car pulled up hard behind him. Tires kissed the curb. Jallen barely turned before a voice exploded behind him. "Hands where I can see them, now." Jallen blinked, startled. I'm just... Pop. The gunshot shattered the silence. Pain tore through his chest like fire. He stumbled backward and crumpled to the pavement, gasping for air. Blood soaked through his gray hoodie. His fingers twitched toward the grocery bag, now split open, cans rolling into the street. The officer, Rick Dawson, red-faced, bald, breathing heavy, didn't even flinch. He kept his gun raised. "Suspect down! Suspect down!" He barked into his radio, never once checking if Jallen had a weapon. There wasn't one. A receipt fluttered out from the grocery bag. Yogurt, bread, medicine, paid in full. Jallen couldn't speak, could barely breathe, but his eyes locked on Dawson, burning, pleading, confused. "Match the description," Dawson muttered to himself, still on edge. Blackmail, hoodie, bike theft last week. That was it. That was all it took. Across the street, a jogger stopped, horrified. A mom held her child closer. A man pulled out his phone. "He didn't do anything," someone shouted. "Call an ambulance," another screamed. But Dawson didn't move. He barked at the growing crowd. "Back up! This is a crime scene!" Jallen tried to lift his hand, failed. Inside his sneaker, a micro GPS chip sent a silent distress signal to one man. Not a friend, not a lawyer. His father. 40 miles away at Dobbins Air Reserve Base, Colonel Andre Carter was wrapping up a high-level intelligence debriefing. His phone vibrated once. No ringtone, just an encrypted alert blinking red. Carter's eyes narrowed. He tapped the screen and froze. Code S2, shooting, GPS live. His son had been compromised. "Excuse me," he said, cutting off a Pentagon liaison mid-sentence. "We're done here." The room went still. Carter turned, stormed out without explanation. No one stopped him. Outside, the rotor blades of a stealth black military helicopter began to spin. Back on the street, Jallen was still lying on the ground, breathing shallow, as a second patrol car arrived. A younger officer stepped out, eyes wide at the scene. "What happened?" "Suspect reached for something. I acted fast," Dawson said. "You check his ID?" Dawson scoffed. "Didn't need to. He fits the profile." The younger officer walked over, knelt, and spotted the wallet in Jallen's pocket. Carefully pulled it out. "Sir," he said slowly, reading the card inside. "His name's Jallen Carter. He lives 5 blocks away. No record. No weapon found. This doesn't add up." Before Dawson could answer, a sound rolled over the rooftops. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Every head turned skyward. A massive military helicopter broke through the clouds, descending over the park across the street. It hovered, wind whipping through the trees like a storm made of steel. The crowd gasped. From the open side door, a figure stepped out in full dress uniform, navy, gold trim, 4 stars on each shoulder. He didn't rush. He walked with purpose, Colonel Andre Carter, and he was walking straight toward the boy bleeding on the ground. Colonel Carter didn't speak. He didn't need to. Every step he took was deliberate, boots striking pavement with the rhythm of authority. His uniform alone spoke louder than the police sirens whining in the background. The crowd parted like water. Officer Dawson stood frozen, gun still trembling in his hand. He hadn't holstered it. He hadn't realized the war he'd just started. Carter stopped beside his bleeding son. Jallen's eyes flickered open. "Dad," he gasped. "I'm here, son," Carter said softly, kneeling. His voice was velvet-wrapped steel. "Stay with me." Then he stood, slow, commanding, and turned toward Dawson. "Holster your weapon," Carter said. "Sir, this is an active crime scene. You shot an unarmed teenager. You denied him medical aid, and you ignored his ID. Sir, I am not your sir, officer. I am Colonel Andre Carter, United States Army Special Operations Command, and the boy you shot is my son." A silence dropped over the scene. You could hear the grocery bag still rustling in the breeze. "I need backup," Dawson whispered into his radio. "You're gonna need more than that," a voice cut in. The younger officer stepped forward. "Body cam's been recording the whole time. I saw what you did. I'm not lying to internal affairs for you." Carter didn't blink. "Ambulance, now." Paramedics arrived within minutes, pushing through the crowd as camera phones recorded everything. Jallen was lifted into the ambulance, barely conscious, but alive. Dawson tried to follow. "Stop right there," Carter ordered. Dawson froze. "Your badge, your gun, now." "I didn't do anything wrong." "You shot my son in the chest for tying his shoe," Carter roared. "And if he dies, God help everyone who helped cover it up." Hours later, Jallen lay in a hospital bed, tubes snaking from his arms. He was stable, barely. The bullet had missed his heart by inches. Carter sat by his side, never leaving the room, until a knock broke the silence. The door opened. A black woman in a tailored navy blue pantsuit stepped in, flanked by aides. "Lieutenant Governor Monroe," Carter greeted, standing. "I saw the footage," she said. "All of Georgia did. We're invoking emergency jurisdiction. The governor's office is launching a full investigation into Brook Haven PD." She looked at Jallen. "Your story won't be buried," she said. "Not while I'm in office." But this wasn't just about one boy. The video went viral, sparking protests in Atlanta and beyond. Marches formed under a new banner, #JusticeForJallen. Major outlets aired the footage. Civil rights attorneys lined up. Internal affairs officers resigned under pressure. But the twist came a week later. A woman named Denise stepped forward, a former evidence clerk from Brook Haven PD. She had saved everything they tried to delete: emails, dashcam footage, tampered reports, even a video where Dawson joked about putting punks down before they become problems. And then came the bombshell. Jallen wasn't Dawson's first shooting. He was the third. 2 others were dead, one wrongly imprisoned. Colonel Carter held a press conference, flanked by Monroe, Denise, and his son, now recovered and standing tall. "This is not a statement," he said. "It's a warning to every department that thinks silence is safety. We're not asking for justice anymore." Jallen stepped to the mic, pulled up his hoodie, the same one he wore that morning, and raised his voice. "We're taking it." And with that, the war for accountability had a new soldier, and a nation that finally had to listen. If this story shook you, don't scroll. Hit like, drop a comment, and share it with the world. We're not just telling stories. We're exposing a system